is time to do block number 6, which is called Baby Boom. And I really do like it. I have the pink one all done, and I have a fly here driving me nuts. And I am going to go ahead and make my gray and black ones. I'll show you what the gray fabric looks like. And then it's this beautiful thatched. Love this fabric. So I wanted to show you that I'm going to do these blocks different than how the instructions tell you to do it. You may choose to follow the instructions and do what they say, or you can do what I'm telling you to do. Completely up to you. This is how I'm putting mine together. What I've done is I've taken 5 pieces of the fabric and they measure 3 1/4 instead of 3 inches. All right, the pattern tells you to make a total of 20 white, your background fabric triangles, 3 inches square. I'm going to tell you to cut them 3 1/4 inches square. Then it tells you to make, the instructions tell you to make 20 triangles that are 3 inches square. I'm going to have you cut 10 triangles that are 3 1/4 inches square. For your fabric B, that was A because that was your background. For your fabric B, you're going to cut 5 squares that are 3 1/4 inches square. And for block C, you're going to again cut 5 squares that are 3 1/4 inches square. Once you've done that, you're going to line them up. And from the back here, I think, yeah, these are all the lighter ones. And here is the dark one that I'm using. And this one is one of my grunges. I almost think it's black dress. So that's one of the grunges. I have a total of 5 of the gray and 5 of the black. And I have, you can see, put it together with a piece of my background fabric. Then my granddaughter nicely drew a corner for me, or a line, diagonally from one corner to the other. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sew 1/4 of an inch away from that line on both sides of the line. So each one of these blocks are going to make 2 half square triangles for me. I'm going to get those sewn up first, then I'm going to come back and show you exactly what they look like, and then we're going to lay the block out. So I'll be back as soon as I have sewn my 3 1/4 inch square blocks together diagonally. So I'll be back in just a minute. All right, as you can see here, I've laid out the block, and here are all of my half square triangles sewn. You can see what I've done is sewn 1/4 of an inch away from each line. If I turn it this way, you can really see my stitch. So that's what's there. Now, all of these are actually equaling up these. So what we're doing is making 5 half square triangles by cutting 3 1/4 inch squares. Then we're going to draw a line down the center and sew 1/4 of an inch on each side, which is exactly what I've done here. So instead of taking triangles that have a lot of bias and can stretch a lot, we actually, by doing it in this manner, we've kind of locked our bias in so that it can't stretch as much. Therefore, our blocks won't stretch out of shape. So these, 2 of these equal 2 of these. So there would be 1 and there would be 2. All right, so that you can see where it is that I'm going with this. I'm going to now just take a pair of scissors, cut these apart, and then what I will do is take them over to my ironing board. I will press them first to set my seams, and then after I have pressed them to set my seams, at that point in time, I will then press my seams open. And I'm going to flip over the pink one and show you the back of it so that you can see how I pressed all of my seams. So you can see here all of these seams, which are my half square triangles, are all pressed open. And it really does make this block sit fairly flat, okay? So I'm going to turn this over. I'm going to go right over to my ironing board, and I'm going to go ahead and start getting these ironed. And then what we're going to do is start putting them together. And I'm going to show you, once I get them laid out again, exactly how I am going to go about sewing these together. Because it honestly, once I square them up, it does go really fast. And I'll also show you how I go about squaring them up, okay? So I'll be back in just a minute. All right, so I have made all of my half square triangles, and I've pressed all of my seams open, okay? When I make them this way, I really don't have any issues when I go to quilt it, or as you can see, if I pull it apart, my stitches are pretty small, so I don't have a problem really with my seam coming apart. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to square each and every one of these up. These need to be squared up according to the directions to, I believe it's actually 2 5/8, which is kind of a little bit of a weird measurement, and sometimes people have a hard time finding measurements on their rulers. So I'm going to give you a little hint of something that you can do. So I'm going to take a piece of, this is just plain ordinary washi tape, and I'm going to take my ruler and I'll put, well, let's see, let's put the weight underneath it. I think that's easier to see. When you're going to find the measurements, it's 2 5/8. So a really easy way to do it is to just go, here's 1 inch, 2 inch, and then see these little arrows, count those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So right there is 2 5/8. So I'm going to flip my ruler over, and I'm going to take my washi tape, and I'm just going to take 2 really small to medium sized pieces, and I'm at 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So right there is my 5/8. Let me put this down a little bit straighter than what I did. I'm going to put this piece of washi tape right on the 5/8 inch line. Then I'm going to do one more over here. And what this will do really is just help me to see where it is that I need to cut on my second cut. So here we go. I'm going to lay this down. Remember, I always lay it with my 45-degree line going up towards the right because I'm right-handed and that's where I cut to begin with. I'm going to line up my 45-degree line, and is all I'm making certain is that I'm not short of fabric any place around here, and that my washi tape is covered by fabric. So I'm going to go up my right side, across the top, pull those threads away, then I'm going to rotate it. When I rotate it, what I'm going to do is just take that piece of washi tape and just line it up with the very edge. I can double check a measurement here. I can double check my 45-degree and double check there and just cut again. And this just makes it that much quicker to do my blocks because I don't have to really search for that 5 and 3 or 2 3/8 or 5/8, excuse me. I don't have to search for that 2 5/8 all over again. I found it once and now I know where it is, and it's easy to just rotate my block and be able to find it again. This is something that works really great when I've got a lot of blocks to do that are exact same measurement. And the other thing that's really nice is once I take the tape off, the bottom of my ruler is not sticky because it's just simple washi tape. I'll show you how I go about putting this together and how I pin it so that my seams stay together, especially since on this one I have chosen to press my seams open. So I'll be back in just a second. In the all right, I am completely squared up, so now I'm just gonna remove this washi tape, and my ruler's all good to go for my next project. So let's get this block laid out, and I'm gonna somewhat walk you through how I am going to put it together. So the biggest thing on this one is you get confused as to which way the arrows go. What you're going to be doing is you follow the colors. So on this one I'm going to go, I believe it's like this, and I'm constantly checking my pattern on the other side because I don't want to mess this up. It does take a couple of minutes to put it together, and you've got to really pay attention so that your blocks are creating this arrow going out. And then when you get to the center, what happens is this one goes like this, and then I just keep going around. So then you can see what happens is that arrow's continuing, and what will happen is, let me double check, we've got light, and then we've got, whoops, it goes this way, the dark, and then the dark again, like this. I had it wrong. See how easy it is to just turn it the wrong way, and here I go turning it the wrong way again. I need it like this. There we go. Once I get one in the position I need it in, I'm pretty good, but it takes me a minute to get it that way. There we go. See, I do have a terrible time with it, but I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to rotate this as I go, and maybe that will help me to figure out exactly where these things go. This one goes like this. This one's wrong. This one goes like this. Okay. And now let's try, see if I can get the grays right. And you just keep rotating them, but before you go sewing them together, stand back and double check it, because boy, this could be a bear. I mean, obviously, look at me going around with it to make sure that I've got it right. So it is quite a bit to, that's not right, it goes right across the bottom. I know you're all at home going, no, Margaret, turn, turn, look at this one, look at that one. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach them this way. I'll put these together like this first, all the way. I'll put these together over here, and here, all right? Once I've put those together, I'm going to do just what I did before. I'm going to press open my seams, because you can see right here my seams are pressed open. And then I'm going to attach them this way. I'm going to attach this entire center first. Then I'm going to attach these to here, these to here. Then I'm going to attach this to my center. So I'm going to get it to the point that I'm almost ready to put this to the center, and then I'll come back and show you where I'm at, okay? All right, I want to show you how I'm going to pin these so that they stay together and I keep my points, all right? So I'm going to start here with the center ones, and because all of my seams are pressed open, it does make a little bit of a difference. So your seams might not quite nest perfectly. So what I'm going to do is, the first thing I do is take a pin, stick it in the middle, and make sure that it's coming up on both ends. Then what I'm going to do, leaving my thumb there, I'm going to put a pin on each side, because really the center is what I am most concerned about. and then I can remove this one. I can go down to this end, just pinch it to make sure that I've got it close or there. And then this one I will probably do as I sit at the machine, but I will show you what I do. Just go ahead and pin this one right there, and I'll stitch. As I stitch across, I'll come across, I'll remove that pin, keep going. I'll get as close to this pin as I can, then I'll remove my pin, keep stitching till I get to this one, remove it again, and keep going. So I just wanted to give you that little extra pinning tip to help keep your block together. Here is my block all ready to come together. So now I just really have to match these points up and these points with these. So it should go together pretty good. If I flip it over, you can see I have one little spot here that it just didn't seem to want to press. But when I'm over here on this side, it's feeling pretty flat. Not perfectly, but it's feeling pretty flat. So I'm content with it. I'll deal with it. And then on this side, I had the same thing happen. But here in the center, it all went great. So I may spray this one with a light misty water first before I sew this together, and then repress it. The misty water will kind of just soften up everything, loosen up the seams a little bit, and it will help me to be able to repress that. So I'll probably do that before I continue. But I'm now going to go match up those spots that I showed you and sew it together, and this block will be complete. So here are my 2 blocks completed. I'm really happy with them. Once again, I really like this, the blacks and grays. I think it's really sharp. I like the pinks too, but I keep gravitating towards this one. I'll flip it over and let you see the back. I did fix that one seam. I'm not sure where it was, but I did fix that one. All my seams are pressed open, which is causing this to be really nice and flat. So I am about to put this one away and move on to block number 6. Now, to get the pattern, you can go right out to my website and get that. If you want to know the fabric numbers that I'm using on my blocks, let me know and I'll start putting them in the description below. I've also put in the description below any and all notions that I've been using to put these blocks together, so that if you wanted one of them, you can get them without any hassles or issues. You can go right to it and see what it is that I'm using. So there are my blocks number 6, and tomorrow I will be bringing you block number 7. So I'll see you tomorrow with block number 7. Thanks so much for joining me today, and have a fantastic day and enjoy putting your block together.